A deal announced yesterday between the White House and the commission investigating the September 11th attacks is proving to be rather controversial. Under the agreement, only certain members of the commission will be allowed to review classified documents from the White House, and their notes will be subject to administration review.
I mean, I'm a member of the commission. The president has said only a minority of the commission can see a minority of the documents, and then they have to clear what they're going to say to the rest of the commission with the White House.
The only two commission members allowed direct access to the documents? Jamie Gorelick, the Deputy Attorney General under President Clinton, and Philip Zelikow.
I felt that the fix was in at that point in time.
It's a scam. It's absolutely disgusting. This is important. We cannot do our responsibilities if we don't have, all of us, access to all the documents we need, including what's in the White House.
So there are all kinds of reasons. We thought we were set up to fail. We got started late. We had a very short time frame. Indeed, we had to get it extended. We did not have enough money. They were afraid we were going to hang somebody, that we would point the finger.
Lee and I write in our book that we think the commission in many ways was set up to fail because we had not enough money. We didn't have enough time. We'd been appointed by the most partisan people in Washington.
These are the two reports into the 7th of July bombings on London after no public hearings. One of them is by Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee. As the 10 o'clock news reported yesterday, this was the only photograph shown to the Intelligence and Security Committee, the ISC, for their first report. But the men were photographed again on February the 21st in Slough or Crawley. These pictures weren't given to the ISC.
Americans are asking, why do they hate us? They hate what they see right here in this chamber. They hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with each other.
American foreign policy had nothing to do with September 11th. September 11th happened because these people who hate us because of the freedoms that we have.
And then, Governor, thank you very much for your assistance and your help and your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership through this crisis. This is a vicious attack upon New York. It's an attack upon America. It's an attack upon the whole concept of freedom and our way of life. And we cannot let these attacks succeed.
I have to say to the right honourable gentleman, it is a form of terrorism aimed at our way of life, not at any particular government or any particular policy.
They're trying to use the slaughter of innocent people to cow us, to frighten us out of doing the things that we want to do.
This legislation is essential not only to pursuing and punishing terrorists, but also preventing more atrocities in the hands of the evil ones.
President Bush quickly signed the Patriot Act into law. It was only the beginning.
Some of the worst violations of civil liberties have happened without the input or without the authorization of Congress or the American public. In fact, it's often happened with the discussion and with the approval of a small number of men within the executive branch.
These few men have changed the character of America.
Before anyone had a chance to understand what went wrong, he proposed fixes that went far beyond fighting terrorism.
The Patriot Act is aimed at preventing terrorist attacks on airplanes and flight crews, but as Robert Lyle shows us, there's evidence that airlines are using the law to punish difficult passengers. Robert?
Well, Twee, it's no longer an option, it's a mandate. Everything in a Ziploc bag, toss your water bottles, take your shoes off. It's enough to make you want to scream. Just don't do it on your next flight because you could be a terrorist. You may be frustrated, hungry, and cramped, but watch what you say.
Once you're on the plane, you have to have an attitude adjustment.
Your attention, please.
Because you could quickly go from passenger to inmate. Passengers are being arrested on terrorist charges. You've seen how many of these cases?
Well, I've handled at least 25 to 35 of the cases myself, but there have been 200 prosecutions just under the Patriot Act.
That's right, the controversial law that allowed the feds to listen to your phone calls and check your emails without consent now gives airlines the authority to charge a passenger with terrorism. Any interference with the operation of a plane, arguing, refusal to stay seated, even spanking your child on board can be deemed flight interference and a terrorist act. And in the end, the passenger ends up being labeled a terrorist.
The passenger has on their rap sheet this terrorism arrest.
When the Patriot Act was first sent to the Congress by the Bush administration, it came with a request that we hold no hearings on it so that there would be no public input or public discourse.
The bill was printed at 3:45 a.m. the morning before the vote on the House floor. And you tell me how many of the 435 members of Congress had a chance between 3:45 a.m. and 11 a.m. to read a bill that was 345 pages long.
No member of Congress read this legislation before it was voted on. Not a one. These are critical issues. This is what we're fighting for. These are our civil liberties.
The new bill contained provisions that had been rejected by Congress before 9/11 had even occurred.
The Bush-Ashcroft administration scrapped the restrictions on domestic spying.
The FBI is instructing local police officers to infiltrate peaceful protests.
They're not hunting down or looking for what most people would define as terrorism. They're spending their money, their time, the hours of the officers looking after peace groups and challenging peace groups and disrupting and surveilling peace organizations.
Is that there are people in this country, millions of us, who stand with the people of the world.
We will not allow violence to change our societies or our values.
Blair has always said we won't let the terrorists change our way of life, but that they are changing our way of life, and not the terrorists who are changing it, it's the government.
Right. We've had the Terrorism Act of 2000, the Anti-Terrorism Crime and Security Act of 2001, the most recent Prevention of Terrorism Act 2005, the changing of the law to allow terrorist suspects to be detained. We've also modernised our extradition laws. We will extend the use of control orders. Should legal obstacles arise, we will legislate further.
Under the Serious Organised Crime and Police Act, it is now illegal to demonstrate within a kilometre of Parliament, unless you get authorisation from the police.
You can try. Do you want to get out of private? I need to speak to... They're not letting us out. Can you go? The police are pressing the door against me. They're using 3 people.
Hey, this is a moving vehicle. He wants to talk. He wants to talk to your senior officer.
They've got 5 policemen pressing the door closed. They're filming me. In legal terms, they can't do this.